was full of living beings.
And all the creatures of the ground.
The Lord Almighty created the earth and its creatures that roam this big ball of dirt. There are several creatures that God has given life to, and several animals that share the world that some may have taken for granted. From the common house cat to the small and incredibly rare micro-hyalid frog. God has given this earth to creatures that He looked at and said it was good. Good indeed. However, we humans have taken it for granted. We betrayed His trust and were cast into the hellscape that is now the sin-filled world that we now live in. However, there are still people who believe in Him and those who still decide to go against His good name. Some don a mask on themselves and call themselves God. This action is more closely related to a child putting on their father's work boots to go play pretend of their father. And the same goes for those who play pretend with the true Father of creation. These people try to seem powerful, smart, or even kind. However, this is all part of the mask that they have deemed to give them the power that they wish they had, but only pales in comparison to the power of the Almighty. They build things that they say could not even be destroyed by God, but it does. They make things that keep a person alive through science while denying the thank you to the one who decides to let the experiment be a success. There are a multitude of things that humans have done to try to make themselves be God, but cannot even reach as high as to buckle the power of the sandals that are worn by the Lord. People try to play God, but are limited through the ethical standards, laws, or simply their experiments do not work. But that only pertains to the ones that are known to the public. There are certainly several things that the government of your country is hiding from you. Maybe they are making genetically altered babies who are immune to disease, or perhaps they are trying to make the super soldier that is only thought of in comics. Perhaps it was a race of extremely tall, hairy people who are at one point maybe even more advanced than we are, but now they are kept in secret and only spoken of in legends and by those who pretty much reside in the smallest dive bars of this country. Maybe it is a creature that has been thought of to be extinct, but lives in a lake that connects to someone's backyard. Or is it something that they have designed to be the next weapon of war for the foreign threats that they face in their fellow humans, but it has gone rogue? Or have they deployed it, and it is merely waiting for the call to strike? Many thoughts go through people's heads about mysteries of this planet and the governments that run it. Or in other words, legends. Rather the ones that are not about the heroes of stories, but ones that are of the darker tone and reside in the telling of urban areas. Perhaps an urban legend. There's a multitude of urban legends and myths that fill the people of the red, white, and blue. From a man who beat a mechanical machine nailing down railroad spikes to a very creepy bridge that is supposedly a gate to hell. Urban legends can differ from a person who could have been real to a legend that is more of the supernatural era. The less popular urban legends tend to be on the lighter side. However, that is another story with the darker ones. The darker urban legends tend to be more popular with people through the word of mouth, or even through the websites that you're currently viewing this video on. The urban legend that I'm to be discussing right now is a tiny bit on the darker side, the legend of the Mothman. This urban legend takes place in the United States of America, in a state that is out east, but it has West in its name. It is a state that goes by the name of West Virginia. There resides a small town of around 4,000 people. It is small and quaint, however, there is something in its past that is of remark. The U.S. has seen its fair share of battles throughout the years. West Virginia has seen a quite remarkable one. It was a battle between two militias and the natives of the region. Andrew Lewis led the militias, while the Native Americans were led by the Shawnee chief Cornstalk. The two armies collided with each other, and Cornstalk lost and threw his casualties into a river that was near the Point Pleasant area. Even though it is rather a big point of the town. Make note of this, for the future of this town is shaded in it. The year was 1966. Two young couples were out in the area near the town when they saw something. They saw something that was not normal. It was tall, around 10 feet tall, with massive wings and a humanoid shape. And it had big, red, glowing eyes. They quickly sped away in their car. However, they may have been speeding, but the creature was right with them, flying with their car, screeching. It kept with them until the city limits, where it stopped. The couple reported the strange creature to the authorities. They stated that the creature was around the World War II munitions plant. After a few more days, there were more sightings of the strange creature. Two firefighters also saw this creature. Instead of a human-like creature, these firefighters described a massive bird with red, glowing eyes. There was another report of the creature by the county sheriff, George Johnson. He commented that the creature could be a heron. However, there was a contractor by the name of Newell Partridge who said to the sheriff that upon shining his flashlights to the creature, its eyes glowed like bicycle reflectors. There was a biologist at the West Virginia University who heard of these sightings of this creature. His theory is that the creature is most likely a sandhill crane, even though sandhill cranes are not native to the Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Perhaps it just strayed too far from its migration path. But all those sightings stopped right after a great disaster. On December 15, 1967, the Silver Bridge collapsed, killing 46 people, 2 of which were never found. This creature, who the authorities, papers, and all others deemed the Mothman. The Mothman was supposedly seen on the bridge right before the disaster had happened. However, there is something that is of some notice about these sightings. Perhaps it's that all these sightings had something in common. Glowing eyes, 2 of which were red glowing eyes. And these sightings also all roughly the same in details. Big, tall, either bird or human. So could there be some truths about these sightings? There are some theories about it. Through the sightings, several series pertained to the elusive Mothman. Remember the battle that was between Cornstalk and Andrew Lewis that I previously discussed? There is a theory that the Mothman is a possible result of the chief or member of his tribe putting a curse on the town of Point Pleasant. If you're familiar with cryptids in general or the supernatural, you may be aware by the Utah ranch known as Skinwalker Ranch. The main theory about that ranch is that the natives of the area put a curse on the land to prevent people from living there. The same is theorized about the Mothman. Along with the native curse theory, another theory is that the Mothman is an angel of death, since it was seen directly before the Silver Bridge collapsed. Some people think that the angel of death theory is the most possible solution for the Mothman, since the creature showed its face right before the great tragedy and then disappeared. The final theory is that it is an experiment. This theory is that the Mothman is either a genetically altered creature or a device that the government made. Either it has gotten loose or they released it. This theory is, in my opinion, the one with the most logical sense, because the sightings that people gave from the red eyes that resembled some kind of sensor perhaps, maybe infrared. The other part of the theory is the size of the creature and the speed at which the creature moved with the car that the couple was driving. And remember the World War I munitions plant? Could the Mothman be something that was made in that facility? The Mothman is a creature of true mystery. It was seen right before the great disaster of a bridge collapsing. It scared couples and other people before vanishing right after that bridge collapsed. Is the Mothman a cryptid? Something that is the angel of death to warn those of an incoming disaster? Is it a result of a curse of a tribe of people who lost a battle against their foe and do not want us taking their land? Or is it something that the government made? A government who keeps saying that they are here to help the people of this country? A government that has made a weapon of power? Or is it something that was an experiment that had gotten loose? Perhaps we will never truly know.